Captain Du-Hyun Lee stared at his computer screen in disbelief. The message he had just decoded was not from Earth. After 15 years of working at the United Earth Defense Force's Signal Intelligence Division, this was the first real proof of alien life he had ever seen. The message was simple. It was written in a mathematical language that took him 3 days to understand. Sector 7 remains primitive. Containment protocols still active. No signs of quantum advancement. Do-Hyun's hands shook as he read the message again. He was sitting in his small office at the UEDF headquarters in Seoul. The air conditioning hummed softly in the background. Outside his window, the city lights sparkled in the early evening darkness. He picked up his secure phone and called Admiral Jae-hyun Park. "Admiral, I found something you need to see right now," he said. His voice was steady, even though his heart was racing. 20 minutes later, Admiral Park walked into his office. She was a tall woman with sharp eyes and gray hair tied back in a neat bun. "Show me," she said simply. Do-Hyun played the decoded message. Then he showed her the source, 3 different points of origin, each from a different galaxy. The messages had been bouncing between these points for what seemed like hundreds of years. "There's more," Do-Hyun said. He pulled up more decoded messages on his screen. "They've been watching us. All 3 galaxies. They have observation posts hidden in our solar system. They call themselves the Astrians, the Nexians, and the Chorus. They think we're primitive." Admiral Park's face remained calm, but her eyes narrowed slightly. "How long have they been watching?" "Based on the message timestamps, at least 300 years. They've seen everything. Our wars, our technological advancement, our first steps into space." Do-Hyun pulled up more data. "But they're not worried about us. They think we're stuck at a basic level of technology. They don't believe we'll achieve quantum technology for at least another 1,000 years." Admiral Park smiled. It was a small smile, but Do-Hyun saw something dangerous in it. "Have you told anyone else about this?" she asked. "No, Admiral. You were my first call." She nodded. "Good. Keep it that way." She walked to the window and looked out at the city. "Do-Hyun, what you've discovered is very important, but it must remain secret. Can you keep monitoring these communications?" "Yes, Admiral. I've already set up a system to decode them automatically." "Perfect." She turned back to him. "From now on, you report directly to me. No one else. I want every message they send, every conversation they have. I want to know everything these aliens say about us." Do-Hyun nodded. "What about the observation posts? Should we try to find them?" "No." Admiral Park's voice was firm. "Let them watch. Let them think we're primitive. Let them think we're no threat." She walked to the door, then paused. "They've been watching us for 300 years, Captain. Now we're going to watch them back." After she left, Do-Hyun sat in his office for a long time. The alien messages kept coming in. Messages about Earth's primitive technology. Messages about how humans were centuries away from real space travel. Messages about how Earth wasn't worth invading yet. He thought about humanity's secret projects. He thought about the quantum laboratories hidden deep underground. He thought about the ships being built in secret. He thought about all the things these aliens didn't know. And for the first time since he decoded that first message, Do-Hyun smiled. "Let them think we're primitive," he thought. "Let them keep watching. They'll learn the truth soon enough." The aliens had no idea what was coming. Humanity had learned long ago that sometimes the best defense was to let your enemies underestimate you. And right now, 3 entire galaxies were underestimating Earth. That was their first mistake. It wouldn't be their last. Admiral Jae-hyun Park stood in front of the massive steel doors that led to Earth's most secret facility. The elevator had taken her 3 kilometers underground, deep beneath the Antarctic ice. She placed her hand on the scanner and looked into the retinal reader. The doors opened silently. Dr. Ta-won Kim was waiting for her inside. He was wearing his usual white lab coat, his silver hair neatly combed. "Admiral," he said with a small bow, "the quantum core is ready for testing." They walked through long corridors lined with advanced equipment. Scientists in white coats moved purposefully between laboratories. None of this existed in any official record. As far as the world knew, this was just another research station studying ice cores. "Show me," Jai Yun said. Tai-1 led her to the main testing chamber. Through the thick observation window, she saw it, a sphere of pure energy, floating in the center of the room. It was small, no bigger than a tennis ball, but it contained more power than a nuclear reactor. "The first stable quantum singularity," Tai-1 said proudly. "We can control it perfectly now. The aliens think we're centuries away from this technology, but we did it." Jai Yun watched the glowing sphere and the dark matter integration. "Even better than we hoped." Tai-1 pressed some buttons on a control panel. A holographic display appeared, showing complex diagrams. "We can use the quantum core to manipulate dark matter. With this, we can build ships that can travel faster than light. Ships that can appear and disappear at will. Ships that can reshape space itself." Jai Yun nodded. "How many cores can we make?" "We have 5 facilities running at full capacity. Each one can produce 2 cores per month. By next year, we'll have enough for the entire fleet." They walked to another section of the facility. This room was filled with weapons testing stations. Engineers were working on strange devices that seemed to bend light around them. "Gravitational weapons," Tai-1 explained. "They use the quantum cores to create localized gravity fields. We can crush enemy ships, create artificial black holes, or even tear apart spacetime itself." He paused. "The aliens won't expect any of this. They think we're still playing with chemical rockets and nuclear bombs." Jai Yun thought about Captain Do Hyun's reports. The aliens were still sending the same dismissive messages about Earth's primitive technology. Their observation posts in the solar system saw only what Earth wanted them to see: old satellites, basic space stations, and simple exploration missions to Mars. "What about the shielding technology?" she asked. Tai-1 smiled. "Perfect. Our quantum shields can absorb any known weapon. Even better, they're completely invisible to normal sensors. The aliens won't even know our ships are protected until it's too late." They reached the final chamber. It was the largest room in the facility, filled with holographic displays showing ship designs. The centerpiece was a massive hologram of Earth's new flagship, the first Dreadnought-class vessel. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Tai-1 said softly. 10 kilometers long, powered by 50 quantum cores, armed with weapons that can reshape reality itself. And the aliens will never see it coming. Jai Yun studied the hologram. 20 years of secret development had led to this moment. While the aliens watched and waited, thinking Earth was no threat, humanity had quietly surpassed them all. "How long until the first ship is ready?" she asked. 6 months. We're building it inside Neptune's atmosphere. The storms hide everything from the alien observation posts." Jai Yun smiled. Soon, very soon, the 3 galaxies would learn their mistake. They would learn that humanity wasn't primitive at all. They would learn that while they were watching and waiting, humanity had become something far more dangerous than they could imagine. "Keep working," she said. "The time is coming when we won't need to hide anymore." As she left the facility, Jai Yun thought about the aliens' arrogance. They thought they knew everything about Earth. They thought they had humanity figured out. They were wrong. And soon, they would learn just how wrong they were. Commander Han Sol Choi watched the alien ships appear at the edge of the solar system. There were 20 of them, all small patrol vessels. Through his command screen on the Earth Defense Station, he could see them clearly. They moved like silver fish in the darkness of space. "They're setting up the quarantine line," his second-in-command said. "Just as Admiral Park predicted." Han Sol nodded. The aliens thought they were being clever. They planned to build a wall around Earth's solar system, to keep humanity contained like animals in a zoo. They didn't know they were walking into a trap. "Launch our defense ships," Han Solo ordered. "Remember, use only conventional weapons, nothing advanced. Make it look good, but not too good." Earth's defense fleet moved out. They were old ships built with simple technology that the aliens would expect from a primitive civilization. Each one was powered by nuclear engines and armed with basic missiles. But hidden inside each ship was a small quantum core, ready to be used if things went wrong. The alien ships sent a message in Earth's direction. "Your solar system is now under protective quarantine. This is for your own safety. Do not resist." Han Solo smiled. He sent back a message using simple radio waves, making sure it sounded scared and confused. "Unknown vessels, this is Earth Defense Command. You are in restricted space. Please identify yourselves." The alien ships moved closer. Their sensors scanned Earth's defense fleet. Han Solo knew what they were seeing: primitive nuclear engines, basic weapon systems, simple shields. Nothing that could threaten them. "Commence defense plan," Han Solo ordered. "Make it look like we're trying our best with what we have." Earth's ships launched their missiles. The alien vessels easily dodged them, just as planned. Their return fire was careful, designed to disable rather than destroy. They still thought they were dealing with primitive beings who needed to be contained, not destroyed. Han Solo watched as his ships performed their carefully rehearsed dance. They fired weapons that barely missed. They made rookie mistakes in their formations. They acted exactly like a young species facing superior technology for the first time. The battle lasted for 2 hours. In the end, 5 Earth ships were disabled, their crews safely evacuated. The alien vessels took position around the solar system, ready to begin their quarantine. "Send the message to Admiral Park," Han Solo ordered. "Tell her Phase 1 is complete." The aliens took the bait. Deep in his command center, Han Solo received new sensor data from the quantum detection systems hidden throughout the solar system. The aliens were setting up their quarantine network, just as planned. They were placing sensor buoys and patrol routes exactly where Admiral Park had predicted they would. But they didn't notice the small distortions in space around Neptune. They didn't see the massive construction project hidden in the planet's storms. They had no idea that Earth's real fleet was almost ready. Han Solo looked at the alien ships through his command screen. They were celebrating their easy victory, sending messages back to their home galaxies about how simply they had contained the primitive humans. "Enjoy your victory," he said quietly. "It will be your last one." In his office, Han Solo wrote his report for Admiral Park. The aliens had proven themselves predictable. They had shown their standard tactics and their basic technology level. Most importantly, they had shown their greatest weakness, their absolute certainty that they were superior. Soon, very soon, that certainty would be their downfall. The real battle was coming, and Earth would be ready. The aliens thought they had won today, but they had only proven how much they had underestimated humanity. Han Solo smiled as he sent his report. Let them think they had won. Let them think Earth was safely contained. Their overconfidence would make their eventual defeat even more complete. Lieutenant Su Jin Kang floated in her spacesuit inside Neptune's atmosphere. Through the swirling storms, she could see it. Humanity's greatest achievement. The first Dreadnought vessel was almost complete. Its massive hull stretched for 10 kilometers, black as space itself. "Status report," she said into her communicator. Her voice was calm, even though her heart raced with pride every time she saw the ship. Chief Engineer Dong Huk Ryu's voice came through clearly. "Final quantum core installation is complete. All 50 cores are running at full power. Weapon systems are at 98%. We're ahead of schedule." Su Jin moved closer to the huge ship. The storms of Neptune hit it perfectly from the alien sensors. Even now, 3 months after the quarantine began, the aliens had no idea what was happening inside the planet's atmosphere. "Show me the new weapons," she ordered. Dongkuk activated the ship's exterior lights. They revealed rows of strange devices along the hull. These were not simple missiles or laser cannons. These were weapons that could tear holes in space itself. "The gravity lance is ready for testing," Dongkuk reported. "Would you like to see?" "Yes." "Target the practice drone." A small drone floated 5 kilometers away. Dongkuk activated the weapon. There was no beam, no explosion. Instead, space itself seemed to bend. The drone didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, crushed into nothing by artificial gravity. "Perfect," Su Jin said. "And the quantum shields. Even better than we hoped. Watch this." The Dreadnought disappeared, not with any fancy cloaking device, but by bending space-time around itself. Then it reappeared a moment later, as if it had always been there. "The aliens won't be able to detect it," Donghyuk explained. "Their sensors can't see what isn't technically there. And when we do reveal ourselves, they won't know what hit them." Su Jin finished. She floated back to the command center, a large station hidden in Neptune's clouds. On her screens, she could see the other ships under construction. 5 more dreadnoughts were taking shape, each one more powerful than anything the aliens had. Admiral Park's face appeared on her main screen. "Progress report, Lieutenant." "We're ready, Admiral. The first ship can launch whenever you give the order. The others will be ready within 2 months." "Excellent." The Admiral smiled. "The aliens are getting comfortable with their quarantine. They think they have us contained. Their patrols are becoming routine." Su Jin looked at her own sensor readings. The alien ships moved in predictable patterns now, confident that Earth was safely trapped. They had no idea that humanity's real fleet was about to emerge. "When do we strike?" she asked. "Soon. Let them get a little more comfortable first. Let them report back to their galaxies about how well they've contained the primitive humans." The Admiral's eyes gleamed. "Then we'll show them what humanity can really do." After the Admiral's call ended, Su Jin watched her crews work on the massive ships. Years of secret development, years of hiding their true progress, had led to this moment. While the aliens watched Earth's surface, humanity had built its real power in the outer solar system. Soon, very soon, the Dreadnought fleet would reveal itself. And when it did, 3 galaxies would learn that they had made a terrible mistake. They had called humanity primitive. They had tried to contain Earth like animals in a cage. That was their mistake, and the Dreadnought fleet would make them regret it. Fleet Admiral Min Ji-yoon stood on the bridge of the first Dreadnought, the Earthborn Dawn. Through the massive view screens, she could see the alien invasion fleet arriving. They had come in force, over 300 ships from all 3 galaxies. "They're here to teach the primitives a lesson," she said softly. Behind her, the bridge crew worked at their stations, preparing for humanity's greatest moment. The alien fleet took position around Earth. Their ships were impressive by normal standards, each one a kilometer long, armed with plasma weapons and energy shields. They thought they had brought overwhelming force to deal with a primitive planet. They were wrong. "Send the message," Minji ordered. "Let them make their demands first." The alien commander's voice filled the bridge. "People of Earth, your attempts to break quarantine have failed. Your primitive weapons cannot harm us. Surrender now, and we will be merciful." Minji smiled. "Begin Operation Revelation." Deep in Neptune's storms, 6 massive shapes began to move. The Dreadnought fleet, hidden for so long, finally emerged. Each ship was 10 kilometers long, their black hulls absorbing light itself. They moved without engines, carried by quantum fields that bent space around them. The alien fleet noticed them immediately. Their sensors lit up with warnings. Min-ji could imagine their confusion as they tried to understand what they were seeing. "This is Fleet Admiral Min Ji-yoon of the Earth Defense Force," she announced on all channels. "You call us primitive. You tried to cage us. That was your mistake." The Earthborn Dawn moved forward, leading the fleet. The alien ships scrambled to reposition, their confident formation breaking apart in confusion. "Impossible," the alien commander shouted. "Your species cannot have this technology." "Our observations." "Your observations saw what we wanted you to see," Minji interrupted. "While you watched our cities, we built in the shadows. While you monitored our satellites, we mastered quantum science. While you laughed at our primitive ships, we created these." The alien fleet opened fire. Their plasma weapons and energy beams struck the Dreadnought's quantum shields and simply ceased to exist. The shields didn't deflect or absorb the attacks. They erased them from reality itself. "Show them what Earth can do," Minji ordered. The Dreadnoughts activated their gravity lenses. Space itself bent and twisted. 20 alien ships simply vanished, crushed into nothing by artificial gravity fields. The others tried to retreat, but the Dreadnoughts were faster, jumping through folded space to cut off their escape. "This is impossible," the alien commander's voice shook. "You're supposed to be primitive. You're supposed to be centuries away from this level of technology." "You underestimated humanity," Minji replied calmly. "You watched us for 300 years and saw only what you expected to see. Your arrogance blinded you." The battle lasted less than an hour. The alien fleet, for all its impressive size, had no defense against weapons that could reshape reality. When it was over, the survivors retreated in panic, jumping away to their home galaxies. Minji watched them flee on her view screen. "Send the message to all 3 galaxies," she ordered. "Tell them that Earth is no longer accepting their quarantine. Tell them that the primitives they tried to cage have broken free." As the message was sent, Minji thought about how long humanity had waited for this moment. The 3 galaxies had called Earth primitive. They had tried to contain humanity like animals in a zoo. Now they would learn the truth. Earth wasn't primitive at all, and the Dreadnought fleet was just the beginning. Colonel Sang-Ho Park stood at the command station of the Dreadnought Starfire as it entered Astrine space. 2 other Dreadnoughts followed behind, their black hulls invisible against the darkness of space. The Astrines had no idea they were coming. "First target confirmed," his tactical officer reported. "The Astrine defense station is straight ahead. They still haven't detected us." Sang-Ho nodded. The quantum shields made the Earth ships completely invisible to alien sensors. The Astrines would only see them when it was too late. At the same time, Commander Hai-Jin Quan led another fleet of 3 dreadnoughts into Nexian territory. The coordinated attack would strike both galaxies at once, while the last enemy galaxy, the Chorus, watched in fear. "Prepare to reveal ourselves," Sang-Ho ordered. "Let's show them what primitives can do." The dreadnoughts dropped their quantum shields. Suddenly, 3 massive warships appeared in the heart of Astrine space. The alien defense station's alarms began to sound, but it was already too late. "Fire gravity lances," Sang-Ho commanded. The space around the defense station twisted and bent. The massive station, home to 10,000 Astrian soldiers, simply vanished into nothing. There was no explosion, no debris, just empty space where it had once been. "Send the message," Sang-Ho said. His communications officer broadcast on all frequencies. "This is Colonel Sang-Ho Park of Earth's Dreadnought Fleet. Your arrogance led you to underestimate humanity. Now you will face the consequences." The Astrian response ships arrived quickly, but they were no match for Earth's technology. Their weapons couldn't penetrate the quantum shields, and they had no defense against the gravity lances. Meanwhile, in Nexian space, Commander Hai-Jin's fleet was having similar success. Her ships targeted the Nexian shipyards, destroying their ability to build more warships. The Nexians tried to fight back with their best weapons, but nothing they had could stop a dreadnought. "Their defense systems are useless," Hai-Jin reported back to Earth Command. "They never imagined we could achieve this level of technology. They have no countermeasures." The attacks continued for 3 days. The Earth ships moved freely through both galaxies, destroying military targets and defensive installations. They made sure not to harm civilian areas. This was not about revenge, but about showing the aliens that humanity could no longer be contained or controlled. Back on the Starfire, Sang-Ho received new orders from Fleet Admiral Minji. The Chorus are asking for peace talks, she told him. Seeing what happened to the other two galaxies has changed their minds about Earth's primitive status. Should we withdraw? Sang-Ho asked. Not yet. Hold position and maintain pressure. Show them we can strike anywhere at any time. Let them understand that their time of looking down on Earth is over. Sang-Ho looked at his tactical display. The Astrian forces were in complete disarray. Their mighty fleets, which had once fought to contain Earth, were now hiding in fear of the Dreadnoughts. They called us primitive, he said to his crew. They thought they could keep us in a cage. Now they learned that humanity was never primitive. We were just patient, and that patience has paid off. The Dreadnoughts moved through space like silent hunters, their very presence making the aliens question everything they had believed about humanity. The primitive species they had looked down on had become their worst nightmare. Ambassador Jun Seo Chang walked into the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. The room was massive, with high crystal ceilings that showed the stars above. Representatives from all three galaxies sat in rising tiers around the central platform. They watched him with fear and respect, very different from the contempt they had shown Earth just months ago. Dr. Abra Song walked beside him, carrying a data tablet. Her research had uncovered the truth about the three galaxies' actions throughout history. Now it was time to share that truth. Honorable representatives, Jun Seo began, his voice clear and strong. You called Earth primitive. You tried to keep us contained. Today, you will learn why that was a terrible mistake. He nodded to Ara, who activated the hall's display systems. Images appeared in the air above them, showing hundreds of different planets and species. For 10,000 years, your three galaxies have done the same thing again and again, Jun Seo said. You find developing civilizations. You watch them. You contain them. You keep them primitive. We have proof. The alien representatives began to whisper among themselves. Some looked angry, others worried. They had never expected their secrets to be discovered. Your observation posts didn't just watch Earth, Ara explained. They watched 1,000 other worlds. When a species got too close to advancing, you stopped them. When they discovered too much, you erased their progress. You kept them primitive on purpose. Jun Seo touched a control, and new images appeared. They showed alien ships destroying research facilities on distant worlds, erasing scientific discoveries, and keeping countless species from advancing. We found your secret archives, he continued. We know everything. You didn't want competition. You didn't want other species to reach your level, so you stopped them all. You tried to stop us too. An Astrian representative stood up. We did this to maintain order, to prevent chaos. These primitive species weren't ready for advanced technology. No, Jun Seo said firmly. You did it because you were afraid. Afraid of what would happen when other species became as powerful as you. Afraid they might be better than you. Afraid they might do exactly what Earth has done. The hall erupted in angry shouts and protests. Jun Seo waited calmly until they quieted down. But you made a mistake with Earth, he continued. You watched our cities, but missed our underground labs. You saw our space stations, but missed our quantum research. You were so sure we were primitive that you didn't look carefully enough. And now, your mistake has broken your power forever. Ara stepped forward. We have shared our findings with every species you suppressed. They know the truth now. They know how you kept them primitive. And they know that Earth has proven you can be defeated. The alien representatives looked at each other in fear. They knew what this meant. Their control over other species was ending. Their power was breaking. Earth could destroy you, Jun Seo said quietly. Our dreadnoughts could reduce your civilizations to dust. But we won't. Instead, we offer you a choice. End your suppression of other species. Help them advance. Share technology freely, or face the consequences. He let his words sink in. The three galaxies had kept others primitive for thousands of years. Now, those primitive humans they had looked down on were giving them orders. The age of suppression is over, Jumseo announced. The time of advancement begins. Choose wisely. As he finished speaking, the hall remained silent. The representatives of three galaxies sat in their seats, understanding that everything had changed. The primitives they had tried to contain had become their masters, and nothing would ever be the same again. Supreme Commander Young Ho Shin stood on the observation deck of Earth's new Galactic Development Center. Through the massive windows, he could see ships from 100 different species coming and going. Each one represented a civilization that the three galaxies had once suppressed. Each one was now learning and growing under Earth's protection. The latest progress report, Commander, his assistant said, handing him a data tablet. Young Ho read through the information with satisfaction. In just 1 year, 50 different species had achieved quantum technology. Another 100 were close behind. The age of suppression was truly over. And the three galaxies? He asked. They are following the new rules perfectly, his assistant replied. Fear of the Dreadnoughts keeps them honest. They share their technology as required. They no longer interfere with developing civilizations. Young Ho walked to another window. Below, he could see alien scientists working together in research labs. Species that had once been kept primitive were now making discoveries that surprised even Earth's scientists. Commander, a voice called. He turned to see Admiral Jae-yun Park entering the room. She had aged in the past year, but her eyes were still sharp and determined. Admiral, he greeted her. How are the new dreadnoughts coming along? Better than expected, she said. But more importantly, 5 other species have now learned to build their own, just as we planned. This was the key to Earth's new approach. Unlike the three galaxies, humans didn't want to keep others weak. They wanted to help them become strong. Every species that built their own dreadnoughts became part of the new protection force, helping to ensure no one would ever be suppressed again. The latest survey results are in, Jae-yun continued. We found 300 more developing civilizations that the three galaxies were watching. We're already sending support teams to help them advance. Young Ho nodded. And the observation posts, all destroyed or converted to research stations. No one will ever be secretly watched and suppressed again. They stood together, watching the busy spaceport below. Ships of all shapes and sizes moved between the stars. Species that had once been trapped on their own worlds were now exploring the universe freely. They called us primitive, Young Ho said softly. They never understood that humanity's greatest strength was not our technology. It was our desire to help others grow. The three galaxies ruled through suppression. Jae-yun agreed. We rule through advancement. They kept others weak. We make them strong. A message appeared on Young Ho's screen. Another species had just achieved faster than light travel. Their first ship would arrive at the Galactic Development Center tomorrow. One more civilization breaking free from primitive status, ready to join the new galactic community. Schedule a welcome ceremony, he ordered. Let them see what awaits them. Let them understand that humanity remembers what it was like to be called primitive. As he spoke, a dreadnought passed by the window, its massive black hull gleaming in the starlight. But now it wasn't a weapon of war. It was a symbol of protection, ensuring that no species would ever be suppressed again. The three galaxies had called humanity primitive. They had tried to keep Earth contained and weak. Instead, they had inspired humanity to create something new. A galaxy where every species could reach its full potential. That was humanity's real victory. Not the power of the dreadnoughts, but the power to help others grow. The age of suppression was over. The age of advancement had begun, and it had all started because three galaxies made the mistake of calling humanity primitive.